प्लेटफॉर्म पे दे दिए
Am I audible? कहते हैं कि तोड़ना है हर पिंजरा, तोड़ना है हर पिंजरा, मेरी उड़ान अभी बाकी है, मंजिलें जमीन भर नहीं, आसमान अभी बाकी है। लहरों का थमना नहीं समंदर की बेबसी, लहरों का थमना नहीं समंदर की बेबसी, बाहर खामोशी सही, भीतर कई तूफान अभी बाकी हैं। Ladies and gentlemen, it gives me immense pleasure to welcome you all today to this beautiful afternoon as we have gathered to celebrate the International Volunteer Day 2021 and the Volunteer Awards 2021 to celebrate the commitment, courage, compassion, and care that volunteerism stands for. I am Juhi Malhotra, and today I have the pleasure of being your host. Joining me are sign language interpreters, Mr. Aniket Panda and Ms. Nitika Gupta, who will interpret the proceedings of today for people with disabilities. Also, in this new platform of many things, online and virtual, it is my humble submission to all that you can watch today's event being live streamed also on the UNV India, UNV Asia Pacific region, and UNDP India Facebook pages. To be part of our celebrations and the important national and global dialogue around the International Volunteer Day 2021, please follow our social media channels @UN Volunteers India and use the hashtags #VolunteerNow and #IVD 2021 to celebrate volunteerism and our youth. In this August gathering, it is an honor to be amongst dignitaries from the Government of India, United Nations, and partner organizations present here to ensure our message of indebtedness carries through to the hearts of volunteers and those who have wholeheartedly supported the tasks for nation building. We welcome Mr. Nisit Pramanik, Honorable Minister of State, Ministry of Youth Affairs and Sports, Government of India. We welcome Ms. Usha Sharma, Secretary, Youth Affairs, Ministry of Youth Affairs and Sports, Government of India. Mr. Nitesh Mishra, Joint Secretary, Youth Affairs, Ministry of Youth Affairs and Sports. Mr. Shombi Sharp, United Nations Resident Coordinator in India. Ms. Nadia Rashid, UNDP Deputy Resident Representative in India. Ms. Shalina Mia, Regional Manager, Asia and the Pacific, UN Volunteers. And Ms. Debjani Samantare, National Project Manager, Strengthening NYKS and NSS. Thank you for standing strong and relentlessly supporting the youth, our volunteers, with your incredible guidance and leadership. Volunteer now for common future. With this theme, to warm our hearts and remind us of the countless efforts of volunteers in India and the world, we take pride today in heroing our volunteers and championing the spirit of volunteerism. The United Nations volunteers, the UNDP and the Ministry of Youth Affairs and Sports, Government of India, with cherished partners, takes this opportunity to cheer for young volunteers who extend their heart and hand in support always and first. These past years have been challenging when humanity was faced with a common threat of COVID-19 and environmental and other socio-economic threats. Yet, volunteers across India and the world work together to defeat the threats of climatic crisis, social deprivations, economic regressions, threats to peace and development, and the COVID-19 pandemic and its aftermath. Ladies and gentlemen, as we hear today messages from some of the biggest champions of youth volunteerism and witness the imagination of young minds when it comes to volunteering, we take time in history to express our gratitude for those who have cared more for another. The International Volunteer Day, an international observance mandated by the UN General Assembly since 1985, is an opportunity for us to promote volunteering, encourage governments, partners, and key stakeholders, our volunteers' efforts, and recognize volunteers' contributions in the race to achieving the Sustainable Development Goals. Without any further ado, I have the honor of inviting for her International Volunteer Day message, the United Nations Volunteers Regional Manager for Asia and Pacific, Ms. Shalina Mia. Let's welcome Ms. Shalina Mia, please.
Thank you very much. Honorable Minister of State, Ministry of Youth Affairs and Sports, Government of India, Mr. Nisit Pramanik, Secretary, Youth Affairs, Ministry of Youth Affairs and Sport, Mrs. Usha Sharma, Joint Secretary, Youth Affairs, Ministry of Youth Affairs and Sport, Mr. Nitesh Mishra, United Nations Resident Coordinator, Shambi Sharp, Nadia, DRR UNDP, and of course my colleague Debjani, the National Project Manager, Strengthening NIKS and NSS, dignitaries, my dear volunteers, youth leaders, ladies and gentlemen. I'm delighted to join you today to share a few words as we mark the International Volunteer Day 2021 and this year's VIA Words in India. I'm proud to say that today is actually a very special day for the United Nations Volunteers Program as we mark our 50th anniversary. I would like to extend our warm appreciation and gratitude to all of you present with us and partners from India and all over the world who have supported us in our mandate to mobilize volunteers and promote volunteerism in numerous ways over the past 50 years. I especially want to take this opportunity to say a big thank you to thousands of United Nations volunteers who have served with the UN system with sheer dedication and commitment throughout these years. As you know, every year, the world celebrates the International Volunteer Day on the 5th of December, and we are more commonly referred to as the IVD, to promote volunteering, encourage governments to support volunteer efforts, and recognize volunteer contributions to achieving the Sustainable Development Goals, or SDG, at local, national, and international levels. This year's International Volunteer Day theme is Volunteer Now for Our Common Future, which reminds us how inextricably our futures are linked, that we in fact have one future. We share one planet, one precious resource, be it of water, soil, or air, and the same concerns of food security, nutrition, education, inclusion, health, safety, ecosystem, climate change, and community prosperity. So all our plans, all our implementation must converge into one action, and this can give hope to the coming generations. That's why it fills me with pride and joy when I look back over the years that was and look ahead at the year that will be. Countless volunteers, youth leaders, and leaders from varied walks of life, all of whom have come together to make possible solutions for their communities and make societies worldwide stronger and more inclusive. I would like to take this opportunity to appreciate the efforts of our partners, volunteers, and the UNV team in India. I'm humbled that with the guidance and support of the Ministry of Youth Affairs and Sports, Government of India, along with committed partners in the UNDP, UNICEF, UN Women, UNFPA, UNHCR, the RC office, and all other UN agencies, UNV is creating opportunities for our young women and men, empowering them through volunteer initiatives, varied initiatives, making volunteerism truly a vehicle for ensuring sustainable development. Since 2014, the intense action of United Nations volunteer teams championed by district youth officers, community volunteers, and youth advocates in 58 districts of India have demonstrated through the project strengthening Nehru Yuva Kandra Sangathan, NYKS, and National Service Scheme, NSS, implemented as a joint initiative of the Ministry of Youth Affairs and Sports, UNDP, and UNV in India. Even in challenging times, volunteers and partners have been firmly planted at the forefront, fighting the spread of COVID-19, tackling climate change action, promoting active citizenry of youth in governance, enterprise, and community action. Just in the last year, over 380,000 youth from rural areas, from poor and vulnerable backgrounds, participated in youth clubs activities. This included over 2,000 young men and women with disabilities. This year, over 4,800 youth development-oriented activities were undertaken through the Strengthening NYKS and NSS project, which included activities such as promoting COVID-19 appropriate behavior among communities, from dispelling COVID-19 stigma to combating misinformation or spreading awareness on environment, clean water, or active youth citizenry. Additionally, to empower young women in the post-COVID context, including addressing social grievances, creating economic opportunities, enhancing skills, and ensuring health and well-being, over 1,100 national youth volunteers in 48 districts of 26 Indian states were trained. In the area of innovation, through the Social Objectives-led Volunteer Enterprise Development Challenge, or the SOLVE Challenge, over 850 young entrepreneurs from across India participated in 12 Cured Youth entrepreneurial training and capacity building sessions on agri-entrepreneurial teams. Earlier this year, on International Youth Day, the 10 winning teams of enterprising young women and men were felicitated. The ceremony presided over by the Honorable Union Minister of the Ministry of Youth Affairs and Sports. These are but a few brilliant stars amongst you, my dear volunteers. So thank you. My hope is that as leaders and partners in positions for action-oriented youth development, we revitalize our global, national, and local partnerships and leverage our resources to achieving SDGs. For that, we seek innovative partnerships with the youth, the public and private sector, volunteer involving organizations, academia, civil society, foundations, and international institutions through targeted, results-oriented engagement, truly as a partnership with all stakeholders. In this context, the efficacy of South volunteerism in accelerating people-to-people activity and sharing of knowledge assets for the achievement of the 2030 Agenda and other internationally agreed development agendas can't be emphasized enough. Volunteerism as a journey has the power to transform our youth into extraordinary assets for the nation and the world. A statement to this spirit are our 10 volunteer awardees for 2021, who are being recognized at this platform for their outstanding spirit and action through volunteerism. Congratulations to you all. Thank you for your heart, courage, and stamina, even in the face of adversity. Today, I call on all of you to continue to support us in our efforts to promote volunteerism and volunteering. We may all not be here another 50 years from now. Still, volunteer action will remain, with millions of individuals across the planet engaging in development initiatives, both large and small, to improve conditions for others and for themselves, their families and communities through volunteering. So let's come together to take responsibility for the changes needed to build a better future now for generations of tomorrow. I once again wish all of you very happy International Volunteer Day 2021 and hope that our collaborative efforts continue to usher good fortune and brighter futures during this decade of action. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your inspirational words, which are sure to motivate the volunteers into intensifying action. Thank you once again. Ladies and gentlemen, may I now have the honor of inviting the International Volunteer Day message from the UNDP Deputy Resident Representative in India, Ms. Nadia Rashid. Let's welcome Ms. Nadia Rashid.
Thank you very much. Mr. Nisit Pramanik, Honorable Minister of State, Ministry of Youth Affairs and Sports, Ms. Usha Sharma, Secretary, Youth Affairs, Mr. Nitesh Mishra, Joint Secretary, Youth Affairs, Mr. Shombi Sharp, UN Resident Coordinator, Ms. Shalina Mia, Regional Manager, UN Volunteers, ladies and gentlemen, dear colleagues and volunteers, a very good afternoon and namaste to all. I'm really honored to be part of this important gathering today to recognize and promote the invaluable work of volunteers across the globe. This year's commemoration of the International Volunteer Day is an especially meaningful one, coming at a time when the world has had to grapple with an unprecedented global pandemic and immense and costly disruptions to lives and livelihoods. The ongoing pandemic has highlighted how truly interconnected our lives are and underscored the importance of community solidarity to take action for people and planet and to ensure inclusion of those who are left behind. Young people have always been at the forefront of such goodwill and solidarity, and it is they who will help shape the future of volunteerism for decades to come. India, as we know, is home to the world's largest youth cohort, accounting for 1/5 of all young people. India also sets an important example of how youth engagement and innovation can guide a path towards a more sustainable future for all. In this vein, I would like to congratulate the Ministry of Youth Affairs and Sports for its dynamic leadership in creating platforms for organized volunteerism and meaningful engagement of young women and men, including through the NYKS and national service schemes and through partnerships with UN, UNV, and other organizations. These initiatives and platforms are inspiring a generation of young people to take action and to employ innovative solutions to help tackle some of our most pressing development challenges, be they poverty, social marginalization, gender-based discrimination, or climate change. At UNDP, we believe that nurturing local volunteerism is a valuable way to attract talent, know-how, and diverse perspectives to help advance the Sustainable Development Goals and meet the commitment to leave no one behind. Volunteers play a critical role in ensuring that families, villages, communities are supported on the road to improving their lives and livelihoods and to meeting their development aspirations. To those of you who are volunteers, we celebrate you and thank you for upholding the spirit of volunteerism and for showing unparalleled commitment and dedication for the common good. The V Awards, led by the Ministry of Youth Affairs and Sports and UNV, are one of the ways in which we recognize and thank all young volunteers working to advance social and economic development across India. It's my pleasure to join in celebrating the 10 V awardees for 2021 who are being honored for their excellent voluntary service. My heartiest congratulations to these 10 inspiring young role models who are bringing about positive change and championing transformative volunteerism. Thank you for promoting dialogue and inclusion and for helping to build resilience of communities. I hope that this award encourages you to continue to be catalysts and champions for positive change and inspires millions more to volunteer now for our common future. Thank you once again, and I wish you all a very happy International Volunteer Day.
Thank you so much for lifting high the spirit of volunteerism that we are gathered here to celebrate. Thank you once again. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my privilege now to invite Mr. Shombi Sharp, the United Nations Resident Coordinator in India, the representative of the UN Secretary General for Development at the country level, for sharing words of encouragement for our dear youth volunteers and the community of advocates of volunteerism. We welcome Mr. Shombi Sharp.
Thank you very much. Namaste to everybody. Honorable Minister of State for the Ministry of Youth Affairs and Sports, Mr. Pramanik, Honorable Secretary, Ms. Sharma, Honorable Joint Secretary, Mr. Mishra, dear dignitaries, dear colleagues from the United Nations system, UNV and UNDP, and most of all, dear extraordinary young volunteers who are being recognized today. It's a great honor to be with you. I'm sure it's quite difficult for us to believe that it was almost now 2 years ago that this global blight called COVID novel virus changed our lives so dramatically. Almost 2 years ago, we had little understanding of the disruptions of how our lives would be changed. But I think very early on, and this continues to this day, I and so many of us have been heartened and struck how quickly young people took it upon themselves to take action, to volunteer, to help their communities, their cities, their households, their neighbors. To me, the defining feature of our collective fight against this pandemic, and of course, longer term challenges such as climate change, has been the courage and the resilience of young people across so many different lines as volunteers, frontline workers, and helpers. And I'm thrilled to join all of you here today for this celebration of International Volunteer Day and to congratulate the Ministry of Youth Affairs, my colleagues at UNDP, UNV, for this fourth edition of the V Awards. I think it's all very, very exciting. And dear friends and colleagues, we have, as we all know, only 10 years left to fulfill the commitments and the promise of the Sustainable Development Goals. We have even less time to stop the march of climate change. And at this moment, it's very clear to me, and I think to all of us, that youth, that young people are very much already and need to remain at the forefront of our responses, mobilizing to save the planet, raising awareness around gender equality, helping respond when disaster strikes, and helping to build resilience before disaster strikes. The examples are really so many and impressive, whether it's the World Health Organization's 250 million strong global youth mobilization effort, young doctors who went above and beyond and continue to do so, or whether it's app developers, young people who have helped elderly and vulnerable populations access much needed life-saving supplies, volunteers distributing masks, working against vaccine hesitancy. There's so many ways in which youth have really helped both to build and to man the bulwarks of our recovery, and will continue to do so as we head towards Agenda 2030. Here at the UN, and I'm sure my colleagues will agree, we believe that the Indian model, if I can call it that, of development, brings lessons for many other countries across the world in terms of how to build back better. And by this, we mean, of course, not only India's political leaders, but also its young leaders. It's young leaders across communities throughout the country. The ones shaping the fourth industrial revolution, giving us tech solutions to the challenges of combating emissions, and others. I mean, here in India, we have thousands of new tech startups every year, finding new ways to bridge the digital divide. And I think this is really an important point. What we understand is that volunteers are not just an additional set of hands, although that's very important, but they bring unique capabilities and knowledge and inspiration that create new ways of changing life for the better. So I think, really just to recognize the extent through which volunteers are able to reach out to every community, from school to school, from door to door, and really affect their lives, be the vanguard of social justice, be the vanguard of resilience building really across the country at every level and every locality. This is the most, I would say, tangible manifestation of global solidarity and shared values, volunteerism. And just to reiterate that the government of Armenia has played really an exemplary role in helping to mainstream volunteerism. And I think that's why, today is really so poetic to be celebrating here in India, and really look forward to hearing about the work and the inspiration of the 10 recipients of the 4th V Awards as part of this partnership, this great partnership between the Ministry of Youth Affairs and UNV and UNDP, strengthening NYKS and NSS. I wanted just quickly to share something a bit about myself. I actually started my career in international development as a volunteer in Southern Africa, working on rural development. And that was something that I found so fruitful and so such a rich return that I decided not to go back. So I stayed in international development, and since then, from Zimbabwe to Russia to Armenia, Lebanon, now here in India, I've seen without exception that it's the energy, the dynamism, the perseverance, the unwillingness to give up of youth that is the engine of progress. So just wanted to say, dear young people, you're here in India, your generation of change makers and volunteers, you have more skills, more access to technology, more networks, more opportunity, and you are larger than any generation in history. So we have great expectations and great confidence that this amazing work you've been doing, this magic that you are making, you will continue to scale up. And it's our job, those of us with gray hair, those of us a little bit further along in our life trajectory, it's our job to support you, to make sure that you have the platforms you deserve, you have the seat at the table, you have the voice to bring together your capabilities in the way that we know that you can. So with that, let me conclude. Let me just say dhanyavad and mujhe aapse milke bahut khushi hui. Thank you.
That was wonderful. Thank you so much for your words of encouragement. Undoubtedly, with the commitment and support your thoughts reflect, the circle of support for achieving the SDGs grows ever more strong. Thank you so much. From the Ministry of Youth Affairs and Sports, Government of India, it is now my honor to welcome for his congratulatory message to our dear volunteers, Mr. Nitesh Mishra, Honorable Joint Secretary for Ministry of Youth Affairs and Sports. Let's welcome Mr. Nitesh Mishra.
Thank you so much. Ms. Usha Sharma, Secretary Youth Affairs, Ministry of Youth Affairs and Sports, Government of India. Mr. Sombi Sar, United Nations Resident Coordinator in India. Ms. Nadia Rasid, Deputy Regional Representative, UNDP India. Ms. Salina Mia, Regional Manager, Asia and Pacific, UN Volunteers. Ms. Devjani Samantai, National Project Manager for Strengthening NYKS and NSS. A very good afternoon to all. I take the opportunity to congratulate the United Nations volunteers and UNDP and all partners for celebrating the International Volunteer Day 2021 and reaching yet another milestone with the Volunteer Awards of 2021, which recognizes outstanding young volunteers. As we celebrate the commitment and contribution of millions of volunteers in India and beyond, this International Volunteer Day is a special time, especially in light of 2021 and the year before, having presented a new set of challenges like never before. We all have in some way or the other faced hardships, yet as we have started united, working together, work together, we have given each other reasons to smile, carry on, and do well. As the fastest growing economy today, India is home to a fifth of world's youth. Half of its population of 1.3 billion is below the age of 25, and a quarter is below the age of 14. The young are our most valued asset. The Ministry of Youth Affairs and Sports is entrusted with the task of empowering the youth to achieve their full potential, and so we are working to prepare communities of youth and volunteers as the principal architect for development. Under Ministry of Youth Affairs and Sports, the Nehru Yuva Kendra Sangathan, which was launched in 1972, is one of the largest youth organizations in the world. With presence in 623 districts in India, through Nehru Yuva Kendras, the NYKS aims to develop the personality of youth and engage them in nation-building activities for education, health and sanitation, environment, awareness on social issues, women empowerment, civic education, disaster relief, and rehabilitation, etc. Through various schemes and collaborative projects for youth leaders and adolescents, programs have been implemented with active involvement of district Nehru Yuva Kendra affiliated youth clubs, national youth volunteers, and various development departments, agencies, elected local bodies, and other stakeholders at district and state level. At present, there are 2.55 lakh youth clubs with membership of over 50.80 lakh youth across India. Similarly, the National Service Scheme was launched in 1969 in 37 universities involving about 40,000 volunteers for developing the personality and character of student youth with voluntary community service to enable education through service. This network of youth has now spread over 479 universities, 51 plus 2 councils, covering over 17,676 colleges and technical institutions, and over 12,138 senior secondary schools since inception. Over 7 crore students have benefited from NSS. The International Volunteer Day provides us a brilliant opportunity to promote volunteerism, encourage partners to support volunteer efforts, and recognize volunteer contributions for moving towards the self-development goals. It is a very special time today for thanking volunteers, and I'm at loss for words as I recall the time, energy, and intensity of work displayed by our young volunteers, whether in NYKS, NSS, other national agencies, UNV, UNDP of state, and district partners. With all the challenges, the past year has been a year of achievement, made possible with close partnerships and unity in thought and action. For walking together each step of the way, whether it was to defeat COVID-19 threats, promote healthy behavior, healthy body and mind, ensure inclusion, tackle environmental issues, or for innovative youth enterprise, thank you, young warriors, for your extraordinary efforts. Partnership, solidarity, unity in thought and action are the basis of the impact that our work has achieved in spite of all hurdles. I'm also happy to note that V Awards 2021 are being conferred to 10 fantastic youth volunteers, who I hope will create waves of goodwill, energy, and innovation with their outstanding volunteering efforts. We understand youth volunteerism is a journey that has power to transform our youth into extraordinary assets for the nation and the world. So I hope we continue to volunteer now for our common future. I once again wish you all a very happy International Volunteer Day 2021 and hope our collaborative efforts help channelize this power of youth for nation building. Thank you so much. And I also take this occasion to welcome Mr. Saad in his, I have been told that this is a new assignment for him. So welcome, Mr. Saad. Welcome to India. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir, for your heartfelt message and a call to our youth. It is indeed very, very inspiring to listen to your words. Thank you once again for sharing your thoughts, ideas, and views with all of us today on this momentous occasion. Ladies and gentlemen, moving on. It gives me immense pleasure to welcome now Ms. Usha Sharma on the dais, as she has meticulously steered the implementation of youth and volunteer-led activities for the country on ground. It is indeed a privilege to hear words of encouragement from her today in support of the spirit of the youth and volunteerism. Ms. Usha Sharma, Secretary, Ministry of Youth Affairs and Sports, Government of India. Let's welcome Ms. Usha Sharma.
Thank you, ma'am, and a very, very good afternoon to all of you. I would like to convey my regards to Mr. Nitish Pramanik, who couldn't be present today on this platform because he had some urgent work to attend to and he had to leave for West Bengal. So we'll surely miss you, sir, today in this meeting. And my joint secretary, Mr. Nitesh Mishra, then Mr. Shambi Sharp from United Nations, who's the resident coordinator in India, Ms. Nadia Rashid, Deputy Regional Representative of UNDP, Ms. Shalini Shah, Mia, Ms. Devjani Samare, and dignitaries, colleagues, and my young champions of change and volunteers. On behalf of the Ministry of Youth Affairs, I really congratulate United Nations volunteers and UNDP for celebrating International Youth Day 2021 and organizing the 4th edition of Volunteer Awards this year. I'm overwhelmed and I feel very humbled listening to my earlier speakers who had, who really went out of the way to in terms of praising the good work which has been done by volunteers during pandemic, post-pandemic, and I sincerely appreciate your words of appreciation for such work. We've been truly guided by my colleagues from your organization from time to time in terms of what our strategy should be, what are our global best practices, which one to follow, and how to sort of keep volunteers motivated. So as we celebrate today, we in fact celebrate the power of youth volunteerism, which really means that action-oriented youth engagement, which enables us to take a step closer to achieving sustainable developmental goals. And I need to share this platform that my minister, Mr. Singh Thakur, who joined this ministry about 3 months back, is very, very keen that our whole organization, along with UN organization, needs to develop certain robust strategies to achieve the milestones of sustainable developmental goals. And in our National Youth Festival, which we would be celebrating in the month of January, which would be a week-long festival, the whole emphasis would be in terms of sensitizing the youth for sustainable developmental goals. As we say, and also this year happens to be a very, very important year for our country because we celebrate 75 years of our independence. And we call this, we've given our Honorable Prime Minister has given a tagline to this. Independence in Hindi we call Azadi. And festival is called Mahotsav. So we call Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav. So and all our activities revolve around celebrating 75 years of our independence. So while we celebrate 75 years of India's independence, this can also prove to be a turning point where we must use this opportunity to urge all our key stakeholders to join the movement to safeguard the health and well-being of our youth, as this is a critical step in terms of achieving the sustainable developmental goals. And in terms of building up of our repository of new age skills, India truly has contributed in the largest number possible in terms of getting qualified engineers, technologists to the global workforce even today. And we've really made named and be very visible in terms of providing the manpower of this skill across the globe, and is at a forefront of new technology like data science, artificial intelligence, and machine learning. Further, the rate of literacy amongst India's youth has tremendously increased, with nearly 90% of our population is able to, they are literate. With internet access and affordable smartphones, the youth are accessing online resources, boosting learning and acquiring new skills. And I mean, it was something to be seen to believe during pandemic that in no time they learned the mechanism of exploiting the digital platforms. And that became the most important platform for us to disseminate information to the youth who were in remotest possible area. I mean, where we earlier could not possibly think to reach unless we were to travel for 5 days. And pandemic, this was the major takeaway, that the digital learning was humongous. Also, the prevalence of social media and increased internet penetration has further fueled a digitally savvy young population. Disruptive technologies, manufacturing automation, internet-based services and sales have influenced the startup culture, creating more opportunities for our youth volunteers to learn new skills, acquire new skills, and also to find ways to become an entrepreneur. Availability of online wallets, lucrative financial facilities enable enable aspirations of our young volunteers with having digital knowledge. So what we find, one of the major indications of such learning is that they are investing to earn in terms of setting up of small businesses. So investment is increasing, and it is rather becoming an investment hub for skilled and young population, young working population. So if adequate investment of time, energy, and resources are made in meeting the needs of this demographic dividend as building blocks of India's human capital, then I'm convinced, and we are very sure, that youth's high aspirations, commitment, and energy will usher India into a $5 trillion economy. That is the biggest dream all of us have under the able leadership of our Honorable Prime Minister. The right enabling environment for our young people is therefore a must for accelerating their potential, exploiting their potential, supported by very, very focused youth-oriented programs by our youth organizations and other youth developmental organizations. So I would like to thank all my partners for helping to build a very, very conducive environment where volunteerism can flourish and prosper. And it has truly helped our youth to execute the challenging task that volunteerism entails. One of the novel ways in which youth can think and the way the volunteers can act selflessly and swiftly is what we need to address today. And new challenges which needs to be met for development, they need to be decided. Our collaborative effort is needed to nurture the youth's idea. We need to listen to their voice, support them with the best possible solution in order to make them realize their potential, their dreams. The youth are therefore indispensable to this dynamic phase which India is at now, for delivering a future that is more just, more inclusive, more sustainable, and more resilient. I do also take this moment to recall that the road to nurturing the India's ambition in this direction has never been very easy. There have been multiple challenges, whether in the context of COVID pandemic or climatic crisis. Youth action played a key role in averting such crises in the past and helping communities emerge much stronger from the unprecedented hardship they have faced. In fact, I have witnessed that even in the face of personal loss sometimes, our colleagues, our youth, our volunteers have soldiered on. This face of humanity and commitment lights up the path for millions in need. which in your submissions, you did make a mention of that. Therefore, I congratulate each young person and volunteer for their brilliant efforts, for showing relentless energy and commitment. In the face of difficulty, you stood tall so that others who are more vulnerable can stay safe. I salute all of each one of you. And so I believe even more in the power of youth. You may be from remote villages, you may be from towns, you may be from remote districts, but you have not only identified the challenges in your community, but in fact, you have actively sought to resolve them using innovative and mutually agreeable solutions. You exemplify that regardless of circumstances, each one has something to offer. Each one volunteer now for our common future. Whether for the Clean India mission, promotion of fitness, Fit India movement, mobilizing solution to mitigate COVID, encourage vaccination, roll out vaccination, mitigate climate crisis, supporting the water harvesting and river rejuvenation program, Catch the Rain campaign, patriotism, nation building activities, promoting unity in this country, promoting art and culture, training the youth leadership, the youth volunteers has been instrumental in each of these activities, and the impact is visible till the last mile. I also take this opportunity to congratulate the 10 volunteer awardees for year 2021, who I hope will serve as ambassadors for volunteerism, fostering goodwill, energy, innovation with volunteerism. We value and celebrate the work that your volunteering efforts have ushered. I would also like to make a mention of these names. Akash Shroff, Ashya God, Devansh Mehta, Rashmi Singh, Sanjoli Banerjee, Shankar Singh, Shivani Agrawal, Tanuj Goyal, Tanya Chadha, Vinay Goyal. And I really hope that your efforts will create a ripple effect by inspiring millions of volunteers. We are a free country and we celebrate Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav, the sweet elixir, the blessings that is our freedom allows us to think and act with responsibility. Each one of us has volunteer within. It is at the very core of being human. So we can start where we are. We can do what we wish to and do what we can. Volunteer and be the drivers of social innovation, mobilizing energy. And with these words, I once again thank each one of you, congratulate our beloved youth volunteers and for all their tremendous efforts. And I once again congratulate all of you on International Volunteers Day. Thank you and stay safe. Thank you.
Very well said. Each one of us has a volunteer within. Thank you, ma'am, for your moving words and for acknowledging the brilliant spirit of our youth and volunteers who are laying the foundation for the very important task of nation building. Thank you once again. Ladies and gentlemen, due to some unforeseen circumstances, our chief guest, Mr. Nisit Pramanik, Honorable Minister of State, Ministry of Youth Affairs and Sports, Government of India, could not join us today. However, he has a congratulatory message that he has sent across, and this will be read by Ms. Debjani Samantre, National Project Manager, Strengthening NYKS and NSS. Debjani, please.
Thank you so much. It is my honor to be able to read a message that has directly come from the Minister of State for the Ministry of Youth Affairs and Sports, Government of India, Honorable Minister Shri Nisit Pramanik. And I quote, Usha Sharma ji, Secretary Youth Affairs, Nitesh Mishra ji, Joint Secretary Youth Affairs, Mr. Shombi Sharp, Resident Coordinator UN India, Ms. Nadia Rashid, Deputy Resident Representative UNDP India, Ms. Shalina Mia, Regional Manager UNV, Ms. Debjani, National Project Manager, NYKS and NSS Strengthening, and the 10 brilliant award-winning young volunteers of WE Awards and others connected via virtual mode. I am extremely happy to be a part of this International Volunteer Day and WE Awards Ceremony 2021 organized by UNGP, UNV, and Ministry of Youth Affairs and Sports. On behalf of the Ministry of Youth Affairs and Sports, Government of India, I would like to thank UNV, UNDP, and all the dedicated organizations and champions working tirelessly to bring relief, joy, peace, and prosperity. The theme of the International Volunteer Day 2021, Volunteer Now for Our Common Future, is also a line of attraction to me. It signifies that when there is will, there is a way, and working together, we can defeat any challenges. No boundary, no nationality ever stopped us from extending a hand of support and volunteering now for our common future. My dear young friends, you are the agent of change. You are our honored partners in building a better today and a brilliant tomorrow. I assure you that my ministry will help in every possible way in promoting youth action and volunteerism in India. On this day, volunteers' efforts and contribution towards achieving sustainable development goals is recognized and awarded. I extend my sincere thanks and congratulations in this fourth edition of the Volunteering V Awards to the 10 exceptional volunteers from all parts of the country who have been selected through a competitive process. This year, and especially 2020 and climatic changes, have tested our patience and increased the challenges. But even then, the work done by the volunteers during the COVID-19 pandemic and aftermath for the humanity is highly appreciable. On this day, I would not forget to remember Ms. Rukmani Cherry, India's first differently abled UN volunteer, hailing from Darjeeling, which is my state, West Bengal. Persons with disability fulfilling their potential with dignity and quality is also another example of Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas, Sabka Vishwas, or Sabka Prayas, under the dynamic leadership of the Honorable Prime Minister, Shri Narendra Modi ji. My dear friends, I conclude my words with the very inspirational quote of Swami Vivekananda ji, the greatest youth icon of India. Arise, awake, and stop not till the goal is reached. Thank you. Jai Hind. And I unquote.
Where there's a will, there's a way. Thank you so much, sir. Your words will surely resonate in the hearts of all youth and volunteers and reflect a deep appreciation and solidarity for all our young volunteers. Thank you so much for sending across your message. Dear friends, we are moving on. And let us now hear the congratulatory messages of the esteemed jury members who meticulously went through thousands of applications and screened each applicant for this award process, debated and discussed to finally emerge with the 10 names that are our ambassadors of youth volunteerism in India going forward from 2021. Let us take a look at this audiovisual.
My name is Anju and I work with UN Women. It's been such an incredible and exciting experience to be part of the V Awards jury. I can tell you your submissions made our job really tough. It wasn't easy to pick the top 10 winners. The diversity of innovative ideas and solutions was really inspiring. Each one of you is a winner and a leader. I'm particularly impressed and encouraged by the submissions from young women and girls. The gender balance is very well reflected in the top 10 winners. Way to go, girls. All of you, congratulations again. You've all sort of done the first mile, and as we say, अभी तो ये अंगड़ाई है, आगे और लड़ाई है. So I look forward to, rather eagerly look forward to each one of you transforming your ideas into reality. All the best for this journey. Thank you.
Congratulations to all 10 awardees of this year's V Awards, and I'd like to say that going through each of your profiles, seeing the kind of impact that each and every one of you is making has been a truly humbling experience. It's also inspiring to see how many of you have, how many young people are really understanding the social issues the country is facing, and really getting their hands dirty in terms of creating deep impact. I hope that the We Awards platform helps amplify your voice and gives you the launchpad to do so much more. Congratulations once again, and I look forward to following your impact trail. When I see all of you, there's this quote by Margaret Mead that comes to mind, which goes like, never doubt that a small group of thoughtful, committed citizens can change the world. Indeed, it's the only thing that ever has. Good luck, all of you, and it was a fantastic experience.
Hello. It was an absolute pleasure screening all your applications to the We Awards. It was very inspiring to see the passion that each of you have brought to your initiatives. Most importantly, it gave a lot of hope for the future. Do collaborate for a better society, for a better India, and a better world. Thank you and best wishes.
Dear friends, I am honored for being a jury for selection of We Awardees for UN Volunteers 2021. It was a wonderful experience for all the jury members to know the exciting work carried out by the young people in our country in the last few years. All of them were doing very good job in different fields, and their active engagement, hard work deserves appreciation. Finally, we all the jury members, after a lot of deliberations and discussion, we selected the 10 best. Although we selected 10 best, I feel all other applicants deserve recognition, and they are also doing a good job. But in any system, one has to arrive to a particular number because that is the requirement for an organization. I would say that all the volunteers who are selected for We Awardees are the role model for younger generation. Dear We Awardees, I would ask all of you to carry out similar activities in future and keep on motivating younger generation to engage in volunteering work. Thank you everyone.
I am happy that the top 10 selected this year definitely have been in a very different sectors. Each of them were focusing on a very different issues, starting from women's issues, environmental issues, your education, especially the issue created due to the pandemic. So every one of them have given us a way that if an individual can think, we can bring a great impact in our community, solving some of the most stringent problems we are facing. So it's up to that. Now today we are going to announce it. I congratulate all the 10 volunteers who have been selected for the We Awards, and I wish they continue to do and bring more impact in the focus areas they are working out, and make sure our country achieves the sustainable development goal as per the goal plan which the government has started out, as well as the non-profits are working towards achieving those. Finally, I request every one of us hearing this and also the country citizens to ensure everyone contribute in their own way through volunteering to make a small change, because every drop of water makes the ocean.
My name is Akash Shroff. I am a Bitspilani student and the co-founder and president of US Spark. I founded my nonprofit in May 2018 with a vision of bringing together young social leaders to create a bigger, better, and brighter future for underserved children and orphans. Over the course of the last 3 years, we've impacted more than 82,000 people. I am truly honored to receive the prestigious WE Award, and I would like to thank the United Nations volunteers, the UNDP, and the Ministry of Youth Affairs and Sports for conferring upon me this prestigious award. This is not just a recognition of my commitment to social impact, but I believe it is a reiteration of my belief that every young person has the power to become a change maker. Thank you.
I was always told by my teacher that we grow not by leaving others behind, but by taking them with us. I was always aware of the poverty that existed in educational attainments, but the pandemic made it even more stark to me. I was shocked to find that about 2.9 crore children in our country did not have access to online learning, and therefore I made it my mission that through my initiative Read Together, I will provide digital literacy to even the most remotest areas of the country through the adoption of my program and by setting up Wi-Fi hubs at Anganwadis, maternity centers, and schools. It is a privilege for me to be recognized as one of the WE Awardees for 2021. But for me, it is not just a title. It is a recognition and an indicator that people believe in my cause, and together we can achieve our shared goal for the children of our country. I would like to extend my thanks to the Honorable United Nations Development Programme, United Nations volunteers, and the Ministry of Sports and Youth Affairs for bestowing this honor on me. And I hope that with your help, I will be able to achieve my goal of ending the vicious cycle of illiteracy, unemployment, and impoverishment. Thank you.
Ensuring access to information for tribals, let us take a walk with him on his journey.
For the last 4 years, I've been a volunteer with CGNet Swara, which is a community media outlet that operates in the Maoist hotbeds of central India. Our volunteer workforce coordinates with the local administration to solve problems reported by the tribal community living there. Getting a hand pump made, bringing electricity, repairing roads, is bringing huge impact to these rural communities. We are very grateful to the United Nations volunteers, UNDP, and the Ministry of Youth Affairs and Sports of the Government of India for this award, which will help us in our journey to create a Wikipedia-style volunteering program for grievance redressal in conflict zones around the world. Together, we can make the world more Shanti Shanti.
Many, many congratulations for all the good work. Ladies and gentlemen, moving on, we would now like to congratulate Rashmi Singh, founder, Mumbai Bloggers from Raigad, Maharashtra, tirelessly working for promoting environmental conservation, sustainable cities, and climate action. Let us take a glimpse at the tremendous change she brings forth.
I'm extremely honored and grateful to be chosen as one of the awardees at the United Nations Volunteership Award. I would like to thank the jury and the organizing committee. Mumbai Bloggers is an initiative that aims to impact the public by making them aware about keeping public places clean and serene, especially the places which are abundant with nature, such as our beaches, hills, and lakes. Acting more than 200 individuals to take individual responsibility for the waste that we create. We would like to increase a sphere of impact in the cities Mumbai and Navi Mumbai. United Nations Volunteership Award is an amazing platform that inspires us and helps us increase and grow our sphere of impact. Thanking once again every member of Mumbai Bloggers and the organizing committee.
Thank you so much, and many, many congratulations. Taking individual responsibility for the waste that we create. Thank you for all the good work. Let's move on, friends, and let's now congratulate Sanjoli Banerjee, founder of Sushiksha from Karnal, Haryana, committed to empowerment through quality education, reducing gender inequality, and promoting inclusion. Let's take a look at the change this young leader is making.
Namaste. My name is Sanjoli Banerjee and I am a 22-year-old social activist. Since the age of 5, I have been fighting against female fiticide and environmental degradation, and later founded my own mobile school and have been working on mental health and menstrual hygiene. I have volunteered across the UK, Australia and India over the past 18 years. My inspiration for volunteering is that I want to be a part of the solution, since this world, I believe, is already facing a number of problems, and I want to work for something beyond and bigger than myself. I am proud to have built a community of over 200 volunteers who shall further become change agents
and continue the process of change making. This award, the We Award, means that another girl in a small town today can dream of becoming a change agent and not give up despite any challenges. We Awards has strengthened my spirit to be dedicated to the change making process to build a better society. For that, I sincerely thank the United Nations Development Programme, United Nations volunteers, and the Ministry of Youth and Sports Affairs. Thank you.
Working for something bigger and beyond ourselves. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, let us now congratulate Shankar Singh, founder of Rikshit Foundation from Delhi, championing zero hunger, good health, well-being, and climate action. Let us take a glimpse at his transformative work.
Namaste, my name is Shankar. I am the founder of Rikshit Foundation. It's a volunteer-driven organization that works on SDG goals 3, 11, 13, 14 and 15. Our basic aim is to promote clean and healthy environment for all these citizens. When we say waste management in other developed countries, it keeps reminding us that why not India can achieve the same. To be recognized at We Award is a recognition of our collective sentiments that cleaning road, river, pond is not a derogatory thing. It keeps reminding, it's an honor to serve our communities. I thank the UN volunteer, UNDP, Ministry of Youth Affairs and all the organizers of We Awards 2021 for believing in the youth of Rikshit Foundation. Thank you so much. Namaste.
Thank you and many congratulations for your good work. Ladies and gentlemen, let us now congratulate Shivani Agarwal, founder of Break the Silence from Araria, Bihar, creating awareness amongst village women and children about menstrual hygiene. Let us take a look at this inspiring journey of this change maker.
Shivani Agarwal. I'm the founder of Break the Silence. First of all, I'd like to thank UNV, UNDP, Ministry of Youth Affairs and Sports for selecting me to be an awardee this year. I'm beyond thrilled and honored to accept this award. We started Break the Silence back in 2018 when I was diagnosed with post-traumatic stress disorder owing to episodes of abuse in my childhood. At Break the Silence, we go across villages, schools and communities in India and we try to teach the young adults about the concept of sexuality education, the concept of consent and also to identify abuse. Our key focus area is child rights and gender inclusion. And with the help of this award, I want to be able to scale up Break the Silence to different cities across the country and also to make it a legal aid center and think tank. Thank you.
Many thanks and many congratulations to you at the same time. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, we move on and we have Tanuj Goel, founder Friends to Help from Fatehabad, Haryana, providing hope to those in need by mobilizing access to blood donation in emergencies. Let's take a look at the inspiring work of this young leader.
सभी को नमस्कार। मैं हूं तनुज, एनएम लॉ कॉलेज हनुमानगढ़ का छात्र और संस्थापक फ्रेंड टू हेल्प संस्था। रक्तदान के क्षेत्र में कार्यरत हमारी संस्था फ्रेंड्स टू हेल्प पिछले 6 वर्षों से जरूरतमंदों के लिए रक्त मुहैया करवा रही है। मुझे यह प्रेरणा मेरे पिताश्री सतभूषण गोयल जी से मिली है, जिन्होंने स्वयं 101 बार रक्तदान किया है। हमारे संगठन का एकमात्र उद्देश्य युवाओं को नशा मुक्त कर रक्तदान के साथ जोड़ना है, ताकि रक्तदान के माध्यम से समाज में समरसता और एकता को बढ़ावा दिया जा सके। वॉलंटियर अवार्ड 2021 के रूप में हमारी गतिविधियों को प्रोत्साहित करने के लिए मैं यूएनवी, यूएनडीपी एवं युवा मामले एवं खेल मंत्रालय भारत सरकार का तहे दिल से आभार व्यक्त करता हूं।
बहुत बहुत बधाई और बहुत अच्छे कार्य आप कर रहे हैं और हमें उम्मीद है कि आप आगे भी ऐसे ही उम्दा कार्यों को करते रहेंगे। Ladies and gentlemen, now it's time to congratulate Tanya Chadda, founder of My Safe Circle from Dehradun, Uttarakhand, fighting against mental illness and providing a safe environment for survivors and their families to speak up their minds. Let us take a glimpse at the tremendous change she ushers.
I'm Tanya Chadda. I gratefully accept this honor and express my gratitude to everyone who has believed in me and has supported me throughout my journey. My inspiration is my mother, and I owe each and every achievement of my life to her. My efforts primarily focus on creating a gender neutral society where men and women will be treated equally, and on mental health. As a victim and survivor of mental health, it gives me immense pleasure to create a safe space for people to talk about their mental health stories. I want to motivate more and more people, especially the youth of the country, to work for the lowest segment, give them confidence, treat them equally, and give them a space to talk about their issues. It means the world to me, as I've been working in this domain from past 8 years, and receiving this prestigious award is like a dream come true. I would like to extend my vote of thanks to the Ministry of Youth Affairs and Sports, the United Nations Volunteers, and the UNDP. Thank you.
Thank you very much, and many congratulations to you. Ladies and gentlemen, finally, many congratulations to Vinay Goyal, founder the Advantage India from Patiala, Punjab, empowering the disability community by providing access to employment, education, counseling, and vocational training. So now let us take a look at the change that this young change maker is making possible.
Hi, my name is Vinay Goyal and I'm 19 years old from Patiala, Punjab. I was diagnosed with epilepsy during the beginning of my high school. So I've always felt this connection towards the differently abled community and always wanted to do something particular for my own community. So I believe that establishing a social enterprise that serves as a pathway to employment, education and training is the first step towards a society that is less discriminatory and more accepting. And I would also like to thank the United Nations and the UNDP for this recognition and providing me with the platform through which I can inspire many others all across the country to work towards a cause which they are passionate about. And lastly, I believe that there will be one day when our society will be much more accepting of the differences that makes us unique. Thank you.
Many congratulations to you as well. दोस्तों कहते हैं कि हर चेहरे पर नूर चढ़ा, हर चेहरे पर नूर चढ़ा, हर दिल में खुशी समाई है। आज सभी वॉलंटियर्स को उनके अथक प्रयासों के लिए बहुत बहुत बधाई है, बधाई है। Friends, moving on to the vote of thanks now. In order to propose the vote of thanks, to embrace all the celebratory feelings of goodness and goodwill, wellness and well-being that we have invoked, I request and invite Ms. Debjani Samantre, National Project Manager Strengthening NYKS and NSS, to give the remarks in closing before we transcend into the cultural element of this evening. Ms. Debjani.
Thank you. I would like to begin by thanking for his very inspiring message for the youth and volunteers, the Honorable Minister of State, Ministry of Youth Affairs and Sports, Government of India, Mr. Niseet Pramanik, respected Secretary Youth Affairs, Ms. Usha Sharma, respected Joint Secretary Youth Affairs, Mr. Nitesh Mishra, Mr. Shombi Sharp, the United Nations Resident Coordinator in India, Ms. Nadia Rashid, Deputy Regional Representative for UNDP India, Ms. Shalina Mia, Regional Manager, Asian Pacific UN Volunteers, colleagues from UN agencies, partners, friends, and my dear young volunteers. I am so humbled by the solidarity for volunteerism for the youth shown by some of the biggest proponents of youth volunteerism in the country and world. I thank you for your dedication, for your unwavering support and guidance to the United Nations volunteers in India. Your words of encouragement today fill our hearts with new energy and to do even greater things in 2022. I congratulate also the 10 awardees of the year 2021. And I thank you for the WE Awards, and I thank you for assuming the responsibility of being the torchbearers for youth volunteerism in the country. Congratulations also to those who could not make it to the top 10 this year. But do know this, that each of you is a winner for the show of heart, strength and courage, bringing change with volunteerism in your communities. If anything, the world needs more young leaders just like you. I take this opportunity to thank from the bottom of my heart each volunteer who has made this challenging journey, especially these past 2 years, possible. You may know this already, but you have kept countless people safe with your actions. Today, we celebrate volunteers, as every day volunteers dedicate themselves to ensuring that no one is left behind. They advocate for health, welfare, climate action, peace, solidarity, and the sustainable development goals. You stepped out and stepped up each time. I thank the Ministry of Youth Affairs and Sports, UN partners, and partners across all sectors for marking this day in golden letters. I thank the V-Force volunteers for their dedicated volunteerism and exuberant spirit with which they have been running a month-long campaign supporting the International Volunteer Day this year. And I thank also the United Nations volunteers in India and across the volunteers in India and across the globe. I thank the National Youth Volunteers of the Nehru Yuva Kendra Sangathan, NYKS, and the young volunteers of the National Service Scheme, NSS, who have lived up to the motto of not me, but you in these trying times. I also would like to mention specifically to refugee volunteers of our partner UNHCR, who have done exemplary work volunteering in spite of themselves being in a foreign country and under trying personal circumstances. Pao Khao Lian is a Burmese refugee and youth leader spreading awareness on health and volunteering for COVID, helping the ailing in going to hospitals, interpreting for them and staying by their sides, helping new arrivals find a place to live and even searching jobs and fundraising to support. And I congratulate Asadullah Hussaini for his exemplary volunteerism, helping refugees and asylum seekers by community mobilization, generating awareness for and education sessions for refugees. He is a Yuva youth club leader, assisting the needy with medical support, ration, and other support. Indeed, the champions of nation building and building back better are the youth, the volunteers in India and the world. We look to you as leaders who will guide us to being a better country and better society across socio, economic, political, technological arenas. On this journey, we will walk with you, supporting and encouraging you all the way. Wish you a very happy International Volunteer Day 2021. Thank you and stay safe.
Thank you very much for summing up the essence of volunteering now for our common future. Thank you so much for your words. Ladies and gentlemen, दोस्तों, कहते हैं कि अगर किसी भी चीज को दिल से चाहो तो पूरी कायनात तुम्हें उससे मिलाने की कोशिश में लग जाती है. Such is our fortune today. Ladies and gentlemen, today indeed, we celebrate the International Volunteer Day. Also, incidentally, the 3rd of December is the International Day of Persons with Disabilities. The observance of this day aims to promote an understanding of disability issues and mobilize support for their dignity, rights, and well-being. People with disabilities represent over 15% of the world's population, and the COVID-19 pandemic possibly impacted people with disabilities even more. The UN and government partners uphold and ensure disability inclusion in national and global efforts. Today, we have unbelievable talent amidst us. 3 young spunky artists who are living with disabilities and are painting their lives and lives of others with rainbow colors. Curated on the theme of the International Volunteer Day 2021, Volunteer Now for a Common Future, presenting to you a much loved Hindi song by Miss Navya Rose Thomas. Navya is only 24 years, but her achievements and wisdom is way beyond her age. She is passionate about music, and even as a child, she would sing to her heart's content. Guided in Carnatic music from Sarega Sangeet Academy and active in the musical circuits of Kerala, Navya has won many awards and laurels in Kerala state competitions. She has locomotor disability of about 60% and is affected with juvenile rheumatoid arthritis since she was 3 years old. At 13, she had a total hip replacement surgery and needed to get her hands operated. Her motto in life is live your life queen size. The Hindi song Badal Pe Paon Hai from the blockbuster movie Shakti India embodies youthfulness, overcoming every hurdle in life and having the courage to be the wind beneath someone's wings. Let's welcome Miss Navya Rose Thomas. Wow, what a lovely number. बादल पे पाँव है या छोटा गांव है, अब तो भाई चल पड़ी अपनी तो नाव है. A beautiful voice, Navya. Thank you so much. And a perfect song for a wonderful day. Ladies and gentlemen, moving on, we now have yet another sparkling performance by Mr. Raj Jain from the city of Joy, Kolkata. Raj, a 22-year-old super talented singer, music composer and poet who was diagnosed with retinitis pigmentosa causing low vision since he was 5 years old, a disease that has no permanent treatment, and he's been fighting for his life since 10. Raj is super active on his YouTube channel and loves composing new songs. Presenting to you the Hindi song Lakshya from the inspirational movie Lakshya. The song speaks to the focus of volunteers in crossing obstacles and achieving your goals. Let's listen to this voice.
हाँ यही रास्ता है तेरा, तूने अब जाना है. हाँ यही सपना है तेरा, तूने पहचाना है. तुझे अब ये दिखाना है. हाँ यही रास्ता है तेरा, तूने अब जाना है. हाँ यही सपना है तेरा, तूने पहचाना है. तुझे अब ये दिखाना है. रोके तुझको आंधिया या जमीन और आसमां, पाएगा जो लक्ष्य है तेरा. लक्ष्य को हर हाल में पाना है. हिम्मत से जो कोई चले, धरती हिले कदमों तले. क्या दूरियां क्या फासले, मंजिल लगे आके गले. हिम्मत से जो कोई चले, धरती हिले कदमों तले. तू चल यूं ही बस सुबह शाम, रुकना झुकना नहीं तेरा काम. तू चल यूं ही बस सुबह शाम, रुकना झुकना नहीं तेरा काम. पाएगा जो लक्ष्य है तेरा, लक्ष्य को हर हाल में पाना है. हाँ यही रास्ता है तेरा, तूने अब जाना है. हाँ यही सपना है तेरा, तूने पहचाना है. तुझे अब ये दिखाना है. रोके तुझको आंधिया या जमीन और आसमां, पाएगा जो लक्ष्य है तेरा. लक्ष्य को हर हाल में पाना है. लक्ष्य को हर हाल में पाना है. लक्ष्य को हर हाल में पाना है.
लक्ष्य को हर हाल में पाना है. What a motivational track. Thank you so much, Raj, for this. Ladies and gentlemen, we now have a graceful dancer, Miss Divya Shankar, presenting before you next. She's 16 now, but at the age of 8, she charted out her dance career. Divya is from Ernakulam, Kerala, and has 8 years of professional dancing experience. She has Down syndrome, but that never stopped her from chasing her dreams. She made it to the India Book of Records in 2018 for performing Bharatnatyam continuously for 2 hours. Performing on the famous classical Kannada song, Krishna Ni Begane Baro, depicting Yashoda and her selfless love for Krishna, much like the spirit of our selfless volunteers. Ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome Miss Divya Shankar.
Kasturi tilagam lalada bhalage vaksha stale Navamautigam Kardale Venum Kare Sarva Pariveshtito Vijayate Gopasti Pariveshtito Vijayate Gopala Chudavani Krishna Bye.
Absolutely spectacular. That was a wonderful performance by Divya on Krishna Ni Begane Baro. Ladies and gentlemen, moving to the final two performances. The first one being a motivating track, a motivating song, Scars You're Beautiful, which has been originally sung by Alessia Cara. And today it will be performed by Miss Navya Rose Thomas, a song that compels you to rise up and never get bogged down by false insecurities. You are beautiful the way you are. Volunteers, thank you so much for embracing the community. So let's listen to Miss Navya Thomas.
She just wants to be beautiful. She goes unnoticed. She knows no limits. She craves attention. She praises an image. She prays to be sculpted by the sculptor. Oh, she don't see the light that's shining deeper than the eyes can find it. Maybe you made her blind, so she tries to cover up her pain and cut her woes away. 'Cause coward girls don't cry after their face is made. But there's a hope that's waiting for you in the dark. You should know you're beautiful just the way you are. And you don't have to change a thing, the world could change its heart. No scars, so you're beautiful. We're stars and we're beautiful. Whoa. You're beautiful, we're stars and we're beautiful. She has dreams to be an envy, so she's starving. You know, coward girls ain't nothing. She says beauty is pain and there's beauty in everything. Was a little bit of hunger, I could go a little while longer. She fades away, she don't see her perfect, she don't understand she's worthy. Oh, that beauty goes deeper than the surface. Whoa, oh. So to all the girls that's hurting, let me be your mirror, help you see a little bit clearer. The light that shines within, there's a heart that's waiting for you in the dark. You should know you're beautiful just the way you are. And you don't have to change a thing, the world could change its heart. No scars, to you're beautiful. We're stars and we're beautiful. Whoa. And you don't have to change a thing, the world could change its heart. No scars, to you're beautiful. We're stars and we're beautiful. No better you than the you like you are. No better life than the life we're living. No better time for you shine, you're a star. Oh, you're beautiful. Oh, you're beautiful. There's a hope that's waiting for you in the dark. You should know you're beautiful just the way you are. And you don't have to change a thing, the world could change its heart. No scars, so you're beautiful. We're stars and we're beautiful. Oh. And you don't have to change a thing, the world could change its heart. No scars, so you're beautiful. We're stars and we're beautiful.
So beautiful. It says, you are beautiful just the way you are. Ladies and gentlemen, finally, serenading you with the melodious number Ashaएं from the Hindi movie Iqbal. Please welcome Mr. Raj Jain once again. Hope claims victory over any circumstance. Volunteers, with you safeguarding us from threats every step of the way, our futures are safe and bright. So finally, let's listen to this number, Ashaएं.
आशाएं 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 कुछ पाने की हो आस आस, कोई अरमा हो जो खास खास। आशाएं आशाएं हर कोशिश में हो बार बार, कर दरियाओं को आर पार। आशाएं आशाएं तूफानों को चीर के मंजिलों को छीन ले। आशाएं खिले दिल की, उम्मीदें हंसे दिल की। अब मुश्किल नहीं कुछ भी, नहीं कुछ भी। आशाएं खिले दिल की, उम्मीदें हंसे दिल की। अब मुश्किल नहीं कुछ भी, नहीं कुछ भी। उड़ जाए लेके खुशी अपने संग तुझको वहाँ, जन्नत से मुलाकात हो, पूरी हो तेरी हर दुआ। आशाएं खिले दिल की, उम्मीदें हंसे दिल की। अब मुश्किल नहीं कुछ भी, नहीं कुछ भी। आशाएं खिले दिल की, उम्मीदें हंसे दिल की। अब मुश्किल नहीं कुछ भी, नहीं कुछ भी। आशाएं आशाएं गुजरे ऐसी हर रात रात, हो ख्वाहिशों से बात बात। आशाएं आशाएं लेकर सूरत से आग आग, गाए जा अपना राग राग। आशाएं आशाएं कुछ ऐसा करके दिखा, खुद खुश हो जाए खुदा। आशाएं खिले दिल की, उम्मीदें हंसे दिल की। अब मुश्किल नहीं कुछ भी, नहीं कुछ भी। आशाएं खिले दिल की, उम्मीदें हंसे दिल की। अब मुश्किल नहीं कुछ भी, नहीं कुछ भी।
Absolutely beautiful, Ashaएं. Ladies and gentlemen, on this beautiful evening, as today's celebrations draw to a close now, we thank you for being a lovely audience, cheering our young volunteers and walking this journey with us. I wish you a very good evening and wish you strength in the body, mind, and soul. Please stay healthy and stay safe. Thank you so much. Take care. Namaste.